From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
I'm Jonathan Andarian in Townsend. Authorities are getting set up here for the next phase of their fight against the Deep Creek fire. I'll let you know what they have planned.
The Bozeman Police Department has opened a homicide investigation and is looking for help from the public. I'm Gabby Crevitt, and I'll have that full story coming up.
Sunshine over southwest Montana today, just about 6:30 for you here. Holly Brantley here with Chet Lehman. Chet already out on the patio. You said a few minutes ago you were looking for shade because it's warming up pretty fast.
Yeah, it's going to be a little warmer than it was yesterday. Really nice yesterday. It'll be a little bit warmer today and into tomorrow, and then things are going to change a little bit by the time we get into Father's Day. So right now, though, it's beautiful out. 50 here on the patio, 40 in Butte at the airport, 44 in Belgrade at the airport, 49 in Dillon, 37 in West Yellowstone. As far as your day goes, we're going to warm it up into the low 80s for Bozeman, mid to upper 70s for Butte, but big changes coming our way for Father's Day and that summer solstice, Holly. We'll have details of that coming up in about 10 minutes.
Thank you, Chet. Well, we know there are at least three fires burning across Montana. Two of those major fires across central Montana right now. One is east of Townsend, but the largest is near Red Lodge. That is the Robertson Draw fire, and a suspect has been identified, and charges are possible after it was determined that this fire was human-caused. It grew from 2,000 to 21,000 acres yesterday and continues to cause problems for the nearly 200 fire personnel fighting the blaze. Now, as of now, the fire remains at 0% containment. Hundreds of people were ordered out of their homes because of the fire. MTN's Brandon Warren traveled to Red Lodge and met up with one homeowner who feels very fortunate to have escaped.
I'm Brandon Warren in Red Lodge, and although residents are safe from the Robertson Draw fire for now, one resident tells us that today has been a better day.
It was the city police came to our door. We were outside and just handed us the paper and said, you know, this is what's going on. And that was that.
The fire came over the west side of the mountain as it grew significantly.
Yesterday morning at 6 a.m. it was estimated at 2,000 acres. This morning at 6 a.m. it's 21,000 acres as an estimate.
Evacuation warnings are still in place as crews continue to battle the blaze.
Today's main focuses are structure protection and building containment line around the fire.
Shauna hopes the fire is extinguished soon as she recalls the range of emotions she has went through since last night.
I was very emotional, just because it's, you know, pretty sad to see it burn. I think we really kind of deep down knew our house would be okay, but just to see, you know, your woods burned down right there in front of you is kind of hard.
Shauna says the residents who live in the area know the risks.
I mean, we can't imagine living anywhere else but the, you know, base of the mountains, and, you know, you just, I guess, take that chance and hope it doesn't happen.
In Red Lodge, Brandon Warren, MTN News.
Now, the other big fire is the Deep Creek fire near Townsend. This is the area burning. Crews say the fire has spread northeast and south of Highway 12 in the Deep Creek Canyon. The last estimate put that at around 4,500 acres. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian was in Townsend, where firefighters are preparing for more resources to arrive.
Here at the Broadwater County Fairgrounds outside Townsend, crews are setting up the new fire camp, where authorities will be managing the Deep Creek fire. The first members of the Type 1 incident management team that is set to take over the fire started arriving Wednesday afternoon. It's part of a big surge in resources coming to assist. Leaders estimate they now have about 160 people working on the fire, up from 70 on Tuesday.
It'll provide a bit of relief to our local resources, both fire for the Forest Service, but state, volunteer, fire departments, all of those.
Crews are focusing their firefighting efforts on the east side of the fire. They said the weather conditions were less of an obstacle than on Tuesday, when extreme heat and winds led to significant growth. Authorities say they had started building bulldozer lines on the east side of the fire, but the wind pushed it past.
And it just went for a run after that. It just spread very quickly because of the terrain, the fuels, and especially those red flag warning weather conditions.
Leaders say there have been structures lost, though they were still determining how many and what types of buildings they were. The Broadwater County Sheriff confirmed at least one family has lost a home. Highway 12 remained closed through the Deep Creek Canyon Wednesday, and authorities plan to institute a fire area closure to keep the public out of the surrounding area.
Just so that we have a safe place to do some of our fire operations, whether that's, water bucket drops, retardant, or just having people in that area and not having to worry about any public safety issues.
The new Type 1 incident management team is set to take over responsibility for the Deep Creek fire Thursday morning at 6. In Townsend, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
Now, the Helen and Albertson and Safeway locations are collecting supplies for the firefighters and other people responding to the Deep Creek fire. The stores are coordinating with the involved agencies and will be making road trips to get the supplies to those who need them. Now, some of those supplies include water, sports drinks, jerky, high-protein snacks, foot powder, and moist towelettes, but no chocolate because it might melt in the warm weather. A pallet of warm water and one of Gatorade have already been sent to the Deep Creek fire crews. Albertson's store director Eric Dowell says he is always thankful to see the community rally behind these men and women during fire season.
It goes a long ways. It goes a long ways. It takes a little bit off them, lets them focus on that stuff that they need to focus on as opposed to worrying about this kind of stuff. They're doing a great job fighting a fire that's not being very friendly.
Now, people can also make cash donations. The stores promise to collect donations as long as there is a need. 6:35 now. Other local headlines. The Bozeman Police Department is investigating a deliberate homicide and is looking for information from the public. MTN's Gabby Krevitz spoke with the detective division with Bozeman PD and has the story.
According to the Bozeman Police Department, 79-year-old Stephen J. Kilwine was found deceased on the floor of his Bozeman home after a family member made a call to dispatch for a welfare check. Now the Bozeman Police Department has opened a homicide investigation. According to the police department, investigators initially thought the victim's cause of death was due to a construction accident. Investigators say Kilwine was in the process of renovating his home, but an autopsy later indicated the cause of death was a criminal act. No arrests have been made yet. However, Bozeman PD says they have developed a possible suspect.
There have been multiple search warrants that have been executed. There's also other types of phone data, electronic search warrants, speaking with associates or prior employers, family members. So really we're kind of trying to get the big picture overall.
The incident took place on the 100 block of North 9th Street in Bozeman. Investigators say it appears the suspect was known to the victim, and there is no general public safety concern. Bozeman PD is looking for additional information from the public that can help bring officers closer to an arrest.
Bozeman is still a safe place. However, with the growth that we have experienced, we do have some real world problems that do happen here, and that we are not immune from crimes like the rest of the United States experiences sometimes. We are fortunate in the fact that our community has come together, they've rallied, they have been in support of helping us through our investigation, supporting this family as they go through this tragic event.
Reporting in Bozeman, Gabby Krevitz, MTN News.
Now, anyone with information about the incident can contact Detective Ben King at 406-582-2035 or Crime Stoppers at 406-586-1131. Other headlines this morning, the list is really pretty endless when it comes to volunteering opportunities across the state. But is educating people about our great outdoors and wildlife your passion? MTN's Tim McGonigal reports fish, wildlife, and parks could use your help.
The opportunities for volunteering here across Montana are almost endless. But if you're passionate about educating people on the conservation and science of our great outdoors and wildlife, then FWP might need your help.
We have right now on staff, we have probably 5 core volunteers that have been with us for over 5 years, but we're seeing more and more groups wanting to come here, so we're looking to get more volunteers.
That is the good kind of problem that Lori Wolf, Education Bureau Chief at Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks, is facing. As we go back to normal across the state, programs like the ones FWP hold at Montana Wild and all across Montana are back up and running. And with an increased interest in our outdoors, they will need some more volunteers to help out.
Programs, primarily what we look for here at Montana Wild, particularly if it's leading programs, is a commitment beyond the summer because it takes quite a bit to get just people trained. We have extensive training that we put people through. To a degree, at a smaller scale, they learn to be more of an interpretive guide, and then we have just them shadowing school groups to really get familiar with what we do here and see what their interests are and what they're interested in volunteering and potentially leading and teaching kids about.
And you don't need to be a mountain man or biologist to lend a hand.
At the baseline, you just need to be obviously comfortable getting up in front of groups, but really we do a lot of training here, so if there is just a passion for fish and wildlife or conservation or outdoor recreation, if you're comfortable getting up in front of groups, then we can work with you and get you trained. And so not a huge skill set needed there, but definitely have to be comfortable with public speaking.
We've got more information about volunteer opportunities along with all the proper links you'll need up on our website. Reporting from Helena, Andy Curtis, MTN News.
Well, coming up here on Montana This Morning, we've got more headlines for you, including a story as Texas approves carrying any legal gun without a permit. Why lawmakers there decide on that move, that's coming up. But first, here's what's ahead at 7 on CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, President Biden is back in Washington focusing on domestic issues after yesterday's historic summit with President Putin. We'll look at what the relationship between the U.S. and Russia is like now. Also, only on CBS News, hear from women suing the popular website Pornhub over videos posted there without their consent. Why they claim the site is run like a criminal enterprise. And Adriana goes back to where she grew up for a walk through the neighborhood that inspired the movie In the Heights. All that and more at 7.